All right, Matt, we are going to truly go off the rails tonight, and we're going to talk about all kinds of crazy stuff because we just want people to get to know us better.
Yeah.
And kind of what we think. We're going to talk a lot of hot takes.
There's going to be some hot takes.
People are probably going to unfollow after this one because
our subscription totals,
it's going to go down. People are
way
down. They're not going to like this.
But you can check us out on Patreon if you wanted to.
If you want to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe you agree with our hot takes and want to sign up for all of our stuff.
I don't think they're going to agree.
Probably not.
They're going to hate us.
They're literally going to wonder why we even have a channel anymore.
Yeah. Well, let's get into it.
Yeah. Just to be the first person that's like, hey,
yeah, who figured that out?
Hey, they're radio waves, and I think we can send signals across it. You'd be like, go kill the sheep. We have to eat. I don't care what you're saying to me.
Right.
Go
think about like this.
Go shear the sheep.
Like your dad, my dad did it. Your dad probably did it too.
Yeah.
They made their own radios.
Yeah.
Like they would put tubes together.
Oh, 100%.
And they would just tune those tubes through, like my dad said he would connect his to like their fence. Like, and it would, because it's
using this
metal, it would receive the signal with the tube and he could get a radio signal. So it's like they figured that out somehow. Whoever figured that out.
Right.
But then like
they learned that mess in high school.
Well, yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like they learned that in like shop class.
But they were
and
using
here we are
tubes.
learning about like.
But they were using tubes, like.
Yeah.
So it wasn't even like they had to know how to use a tube.
But like transistors and all that kind of crap. Where if I look at something now, I'm like, huh?
Right.
My dad's like, well, this transistor connects to this. And you're just like, all right, cool, Dad.
Okay.
I'm just going to buy another one.
Right.
Yeah.
It doesn't work.
No.
Exactly.
And he's like,
yeah.
I fixed it.
Yeah.
I saved you. I mean, he fixed one of those speakers.
That's crazy, dude.
He was like, oh, it looks like it's burnt out here or something. And I was like, all right, cool. I'll just buy another one. He's like, no, we'll fix it. A couple days later, he brought it back to me. Work. They've been on for 6 years since.
That's crazy, dude.
Makes no sense.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
What a world.
It's wild.
What a world.
It's wild.
Dude, I couldn't fix. No, I'll take that back. I can fix some stuff.
Sure.
I can fix the stuff that's like very obvious.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Like it's like, oh, that needs to be soldered.
Yes.
I can take care of that.
Sure. Sure. Maybe.
These wires go together.
Yeah.
But they're not. Yeah. I will make them go together.
Yeah. It's like that's clearly the problem here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can fix that. That's me.
That's
I got
so crazy.
It is. Well, that's how like my dad with that PV amp that I had.
Yeah.
Where like it would short out fuses. And he would do the same thing like your dad. He would just be like, pop it out and be like, well, here's this, but this is why right here. Like, and then
fix it.
Spend
30 cents at Radio Shack.
Radio Shack, which doesn't even exist anymore.
Because
is there
people
Radio
wouldn't
Shack
even know
anymore?
I think they went out of business. But even if there was, people would go in and be like, I don't know what to do with any of this stuff.
Right.
They'd be like, I'll just buy a new stereo.
Right. Just
and our dads would be like,
no, fix it.
Yeah, fix it.
Yeah.
Just fix it.
That's crazy.
And then complain the entire time they don't make them like they used to.
Well, right. But that's also like, have you heard the theory of like why your parents held onto all their stuff and why you
because of the Great Depression.
And how that passed down.
Yeah.
And it was like our parents grew up fixing things because you couldn't go buy something else.
Yes.
And so for them, it's just what you do.
Yeah.
But with us,
I think
it's
too,
like, it's everywhere. So why not just go buy it?
Well, that's true.
Yeah.
And not only that, but things change so rapidly now and get better so rapidly that it's like, I might as well buy a new one because the new one is way better than the old one was.
Right. Think about smartphones.
Oh my god.
The jump from like, now it's not as crazy now, but when you talk about like 2010s, dude, it would be like holy crap.
Yeah.
This is a whole new thing that didn't exist last year.
Here's a good question. What's your favorite phone you ever had?
Oh man.
Is it the phone you have now?
No, I mean, I feel like iPhones are pretty standard now.
Yeah.
Like it pretty much is.
It's not your favorite phone though. I know my favorite phone.
Well, yours was a BlackBerry.
BlackBerry Bold 9700, dude. That thing was fire.
So I'll say this. My favorite phone, and here's why.
Yeah.
And this goes back to like the craziness of technology.
Yeah.
The first non-flip Razr phone was like...
Non-flip?
So it wasn't a flip.
Not the Sidekick.
Not the Sidekick.
I don't remember this one.
Right, so it was just a flat
Yeah.
But it was a Motorola Razr. Yeah. And the only thing on it that was like as thick as this was where the camera was. And then there was like a bezel in.
Yeah.
And it was like
super thin.
Super thin.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I thought that was the coolest thing ever because like, look at this. It was like paper.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it was so thin. And like, you had this little like thick part where the camera, which was a terrible camera too, but like whatever. And I was like, that's incredible.
Dude.
Now, I wouldn't want it back.
Right.
I mean, but
dude,
it was
I
super
had a
cool.
holster.
Oh, yeah, you did.
Dude, I had a holster for my BlackBerry. It had a magnet on it.
You're peeking. I don't know if that.
That's fine.
Okay.
It's just every once in a while. It had the holster had a magnet on it that when you put it in and you closed it, off.
Yeah.
The BlackBerry went off.
Yeah.
That's fire.
That's how my Apple headphones work now.
Dude, I could type.
In that case, when I put the case on, the magnets hit it and it shuts them off.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Do you
Same concept.
When you text, do you two thumb?
Most of the time, yeah.
Do you swipe?
No.
I swipe.
You swipe.
Yeah. Somebody told me about it like it had to have been 10 years ago because I was at Apollo.
Yeah.
And it was York. You remember York?
Yeah.
He was like, oh yeah, I'll swipe. And I was like, what is that? And he showed me. He was like, I can go so fast. And I was like, what? And I was like, you know what? I'm going to try it for like a month and see if I can get used to it. And I swipe now.
Yeah, I tried
for the most part.
I tried it a little bit.
Yeah.
It's not as like, I mean, I liked it. It's fine. But a lot of times I'm just like, I'm already touching anyways. Like, right. Yeah. But yeah, no, I'm a two-thumber for sure.
I'm deceased.
A two-thumber.
A two-thumber. You know I'm a two-thumber.
Well, what's crazy is, and this is like to me, like the big difference you see, like in the generational jumps, because like Tim and Daniel, like they know phones and stuff.
As far as like close to what?
Right. As far as the technical side goes, that's not them.
Right.
Laura and Dana, which are a lot closer, like Tim, they same way.
Yeah.
They know they can work a computer.
Sure. But Daniel's only 10 months older than me.
Well, that's true.
He's just
Dana's 2 years older than me.
Illiterate.
Right.
Yeah.
But again, I think that's like we more grew up when it was prevalent. Now Daniel had it too. I mean, he's not that much different.
He just didn't care about it.
Right. Yeah. But like for most of us.
Dude, I was making wrestling websites when I was 14.
100%. Dude, angelfire.com.
Let's go.
Me,
Tripod? Members.tripod.com/Tilda? Let's go.
And that's, I mean, like, so, but it's interesting because it's like we kept it. We kept going.
Yes, 100%.
So like new tech that came out, new different things.
Fell in love with it.
Kept going. Kept going.
Yeah.
I want the new thing.
Yes. They don't care.
Past us, they don't.
Yeah.
Like past us, they don't. Younger.
But I don't even know if they care as much. I don't think the kids.
But kids can't afford it. So there's a little bit of a difference between like I might want it,
maybe,
but I'm not going to care because I can't get it, or my parents aren't going to get it for whatever.
That's fair. I also think because they grew up with it, it's not as cool to them.
Agreed.
Where we are that perfect age, because when we were 12 to 16, 17, 18, like it started to explode.
Yeah.
And because I've told a lot of people about how we were in college, or I remember being like a freshman or sophomore when Napster hit big.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, oh, I'm never going to find a job, so I have to do something other than music production so that I can make money.
Right.
And like just thinking back to like going from using the crappiest microphone in my dad's closet.
Right.
And using those
tent you had built in the
yeah. Did you ever go to my house over there off of Haywood Lane?
No.
So we had my dad had a walk-in closet. We built it was like this size room, and off of it there was a closet, a huge walk-in closet, and then from the closet went to my parents' house. It was weird how they set it up. But like we would go in there and record acoustic guitar in the closet because it was so dead.
Yeah.
But I just remember like using the crappiest microphones in those old computers.
Right.
And like it was probably 16-bit, but it was like the beginning of it.
I was going to say, yeah.
To today.
Oh, yeah.
is
it's
insane.
Like, and what we get now.
Yeah.
What we can get.
Oh, yeah.
And how we're like, even using these, we're like, oh, no.
Right.
I like
It's crazy.
Or like what I remember, like that 1010 LT, I remember like my dad looking at it being like, what is coming out of the back of your computer?
Yeah.
Because it looked
All
like
the wires.
hair.
Yeah.
Like it looked like
a
hair
predator's
coming out.
head.
Right.
Yeah.
It did.
Yeah.
And it being like, that's the preamp, basically. It's just a digital converter. Like,
No, it didn't have preamps.
Well, no, but that, like, that's what I'm saying. It's like basically what was coming in, right? It was the converter.
Yeah.
It was.
Oh, right,
it was
right. Yeah, that's all it
and
was.
so it was like,
because there you didn't have an interface. You couldn't do anything with it. It was just like, you just selected the input. It's all it was the sound card and the inputs.
Right.
And I almost wish.
And the DAW had to control it.
And do you remember, or maybe it was me and my dad
we
were talking about it.
Sonar at the time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember, or Cakewalk.
Yeah.
Like
well,
the
Cakewalk
original
was Sonar.
Yeah.
But,
But I remember talking to my dad about, like, it went from those M audio cards that were like $200 and you got 8 channels of 24-bit, 96 kilohertz. Like,
yeah,
it was a sound card. And that's all it was.
Yeah.
And then you bought the good preamps to send it, send the signal in. You can't buy those anymore unless you get like a Lynx that's like $8,000.
Right. Yeah.
So you can either get a Lynx that's $8,000 or you can get a USB interface.
Right.
And the USB interfaces, the cheaper ones, aren't great. And they have the preamps for them.
Right.
And so you have to use those preamps. So if you buy a really good preamp,
it didn't really matter.
Because you were still sending it through the bad
in the
preamp.
very beginning, so I had like the first Focusrite.
Right.
Like mine was like an 8i6 or something.
Not a Scarlet.
No, mine was the... Yeah, mine was Scarlet.
Scarlet?
Yeah,
Okay,
Scarlet
okay.
8i6, but it was like the first one that
Claret is the newer one.
Is the new, yes. But
yes.
the Claret was like, it had like 16
They're like
inputs
super
and
nice.
whatever.
Yeah.
Right? So I had the first one, and it was like $350, and it was just two inputs. And I remember being like, this is fine.
Yeah.
This is fine. But like that Mackie board, that
It just
Onyx I
sounded
had
better.
was better.
Yeah.
Like it just sounded better.
Yeah.
And so, and then I remember like when we started to get even deeper into it, realizing that like they weren't clean.
Right.
Like they were processing
They're
a ton.
just very digital
They were
sounding.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where those don't sound digital anymore.
Right.
As much.
Right.
Really at all.
At all. No.
It's so crazy,
It's
dude.
wild. Well, and as clean as they've gotten.
Yes.
Like you can basically buy anything. Now, I mean, the cheaper you get, obviously.
Right.
It's whatever. But even some of them that are like a couple $100,
they're fine.
They're fine.
They're fine.
They're fine.
Yes.
They're super clean.
Yeah.
Like they're not anything special.
No.
And that's
now you download plugins to make them sound dirty again.
Right.
I freaking love it,
People have
dude.
like FX tapes
Yeah.
where they can like add hiss. And
Yes.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's wild. Or like even like the plugins that like that RX stuff from Isotope is wild. What it can pull out. Like, I mean, or like, because we'll have people that are like, they're obviously in a room that does, it's all hard sides and they're like, it's echoing and stuff, and you put a D-reverb on and it sounds like they're right there.
Nuts.
It's wild.
It's like the NS1.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it's gone.
Clarity from Waves is pretty wild.
Yeah.
We had a girl who like her kids were running around. Like and so it was very background, but you could tell it's like her kids were around and she had stopped a couple times and like, sorry guys, I'm gonna wait. And then they would go whatever. But there were times it was happening while she was talking.
Yeah.
And so I pulled those out and put clarity on it and it was gone.
That's crazy.
It was like, well,
how does it
that?
know?
I don't know, man. I mean, like, I think some of it's based on signal level.
Yeah.
And so it's like, this signal level is obviously what's important. Let's keep that.
Right.
But even then, how does it do that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Because the feeder signal level too.
Right.
There's a new Waves plugin. I can't remember what it's called now, but it's like AI EQ and AI compression. I can't remember what it's called. I haven't looked into it enough yet.
I pay the like $20 a month and I have all of the plugins.
It's like $40 if you buy it.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing.
But a lot of them are
Do
like.
you remember when
dude.
the Renaissance compression was like.
Well, remember when the gold bundle was like $60,000?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
The Mercury
Pirate
bundle.
Bay.
Hey, Pirate Bay. Like, I just downloaded $800,000 worth of plugins, and now you can get them for like $30 for like 50 of them on Memorial Day.
Right. So when Caitlin and I first started, and I was like, hey, look, this is obviously a business. Like, we got to do it legit. I need to buy a few of these things, whatever. And I was like looking, and I was like, oh, I could spend like $150
and get everything I need.
Yeah. And then it was like they started coming out with other stuff.
Yeah.
That was like, oh, that would be kind of cool.
Right.
I don't really want to pay for that. And I was like, what if I just got all of it? And they were like, here's a membership, $20 a month. And you can have whatever we have. That's nuts. And so I literally have everything.
You just pay $20 a month?
$20 a month.
I bought, when I got my new laptop, I think I bought like the Renaissance bundle. I bought that Focusrite. I like it.
Yeah, it's fine. I've used it.
I like it. It's not anything, you know.
I get it. Yeah.
It has a little more analog. It goes back to like making the digital sound a little more analog.
Sure.
I like that.
Yeah.
And maybe it does, probably doesn't. It's probably a placebo.
Right. I will say some of it does color. Like there's color for sure.
Yeah. And there's like a knob on it that you can turn up, crank up the color on it.
Yeah, that's great. That's wild too.
But it mimics that.
Right.
That's what it mimics.
Yeah. Which is wild.
Dude, do you ever miss like recording music?
At times, yeah.
Yeah.
I miss the creative side of it.
When's the last time you played guitar?
Oh, dude.
And are you ever disappointed in yourself when you think about it?
100 times. Yeah, all the time.
You should be.
I am. It's a point of shame for me, for sure.
What you should do is once you get your downstairs renovated, is just put a couple on a wall, and I promise you will pick it up.
But I had my Recording King.
Yeah.
It was in its case, but it was sitting in my office.
Yeah.
And it's like I just never had the chance to grab it.
Right.
Like, and so
that's because it's in your office. You're doing stuff when you're in your office.
Right. That's true.
You need to put it in your living room.
That's true.
And when your girls are watching TV and you're just sitting there.
Right. No, I don't. I definitely agree. So here's my thing. And I had it was a girl that went to college with that I had like written a song for.
Yeah.
Or whatever. Yeah. She loved it. Thought it was great. This was probably like a year ago. I saw her at church. And we were just like, hey, how's it going? Whatever. And then she messaged me and was like, hey, do you have that song anywhere? And I was like, oh God, I don't know.
Yeah.
Probably on an old hard drive somewhere or whatever. And she was like, I'd love to hear it. She's like, I just haven't heard it in a long time, but I really liked it. I'd like to hear it. And I was like, okay, I'll look. And of course, Caitlin's like, but I found it.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is terrible.
Really?
This is bad.
Oh, the audio of it?
Well, yeah.
Or the song? Or just everything?
A little bit of both.
Okay.
I mean, the song was fine.
Yeah.
But me, I you hear yourself from back then or whatever. But I pulled it in Logic.
Yeah.
Had Logic separate it. And then.
That's crazy.
Right.
It separated the individual tracks?
Everything.
So you just had the stereo track?
So I just had the stereo track.
Okay.
Pulled it into Logic. Told Logic to create the stems for it.
That's crazy.
And so now here's what it does. So Logic, it can only do so much.
Yeah.
It pulled drums.
Yeah.
It pulled bass.
Yeah.
It pulled a rhythm section, and then it pulled vocals.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So again, a little bit of whatever. But I was able to mix it way better.
That's crazy.
Than it was before. Obviously not way better because some of it's like I had an acoustic in there and an electric in there. It's not a whole lot I can do about that. Yeah. But I can pull up the drums. I can pull back. Whatever.
Right.
I was also able to use Waves Harmony and create a bus track and put harmony vocals on mine with that plugin.
Yeah.
I didn't have to sing anything. So tuned my voice, which we didn't have. I didn't have the capability of doing that.
Right.
Tuned my voice, which helped.
Yeah.
That tuned was then used for
the harmonies. Yeah.
Only in certain sections because
naturally
it's a bus and I just controlled when it happened. Re-EQ'd, remixed, and it sounded way better.
That's crazy.
And then I was like, hey, here it is. Yeah. Whatever. Now she's gonna not notice
at all.
Yeah. But it'll sound way better than it did back in the day.
That's crazy.
So,
I listened to on the way to work this morning. I listened to the Standard Red CD.
Okay.
Because I have it on a Google Drive.
Nice.
And then I was like, I wonder how the Becca Haley Band album does it?
What it sounds
How does
like.
it sound like?
Yeah.
I don't have it.
Oh, okay.
I have.
Well, we have
CDs.
It's in Dropbox.
Dude, I don't know how to get in a Dropbox anymore.
I'll just
send it to me.
Okay.
But I pulled up YouTube.
Yeah.
And I just searched the Becca Haley Band, and those people that would upload our tracks.
Right.
It still sounds good.
Yeah.
It sounds full and Now, that was me listening from YouTube to my car.
Right.
But like, I was like, wow, this is not bad.
Yeah.
Your mandolin solo in Hello, Darling.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that.
Still is good.
Oh, I'm a fan.
Still good.
Let me see if I've got what I've got here. I know I've got it.
Do you have the individual tracks?
I don't.
Yeah, I don't think I have the individual tracks anymore.
You know, but
they may be on a like you saying, they may be on a
an old hard drive somewhere.
Somewhere, maybe. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I've got it. Yeah, I've got it. Oh, yeah, I've got it.
That's wild.
I can send it over to you.
What a night. I still remember mixing that in my parents' house on those speakers.
Yeah. I wonder if
we got the first master back and we were like, bro, pull the bass down. I was like shaking the car.
Yeah.
We were like, chill with the bass, homie.
Like, will it let me?
That's wild.
Oh, here we go. All right, I'm sending it to you. There it is. Let me know if that.
Through email?
I should text it to you.
Just a link.
But it's just a Dropbox folder.
Oh, yeah. Look at there.
All
called
of
BHB
them.
Images.
Yep.
Wow.
From a long time ago. Yeah, I do miss the music part. I do miss
Pieces is great.
Yeah, I miss editing, like and like mixing that together, the creative side of that.
Yeah.
Especially with what I do now. It's just, I mean, because it's just people talking. So every now and then, if I do an intro, I get to play a little bit and have some fun with that. But really, the most creative I get is like reels.
Yeah.
And then it's not even, it's not really creative. But also it's like the time. Like, you think about the amount of time we spent like doing that stuff, where I would be up. I would get off work at like 3, 4, something like that.
Yeah.
Be home, eat dinner, and then just be at my computer until like midnight, 2 o'clock in the morning.
Jess and I were
mixing
talking
something
5 years ago, 6 years ago, maybe. I would go to bed at midnight when we were at Overton.
Mm-hmm.
I'd go to bed at midnight, wake up at 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
Be a little tired.
Sure.
Have a cup of coffee on the way to work.
Good
ready to
go.
Roll.
Little energy drink or
little
something.
Energy drink.
No
Sip on an energy drink throughout the day.
Yep. No
I
problems.
go to bed at like 10:30 now, and I wake up at 6, and I'm like, my eyes are heavy all day.
Right.
And she was like, we're getting older. And I was like, you speak for yourself. I'm not getting older. But my eyes are all, dude, even right now, like I feel tired.
Right. I'm the same way. So even today, it's like 10:30 in the morning. I've had an energy drink.
Yeah.
I'm just doing the normal thing. And I literally thought to myself, why am I so tired?
All the time.
Why could I just I could close my eyes and just go to sleep.
Bro, when you text me, when I text you this afternoon, I was like, hey, what time were you doing? You said 5:45. I was like, I'm taking a nap right now. I was like, I'm going to take a nap this second. And I did. I did.
I'm not able to take naps right now.
Yeah. Well,
I've
you
got
can't.
Kids, small kids, and they soon. But so here's what happens. So every night, they take their bath.
Yeah.
We like lay in Caitlin and I's bed and watch TV for like 15, 20 minutes, whatever. Mm-hmm. And I literally, like, they'll cuddle up with me or whatever. I'll just lie there and jerking and stuff.
Yes.
And they're like, Daddy, what are you doing?
Like, I'm trying to sleep.
I'm exhausted.
I'm trying not to be tired
Leave
all the time.
me alone. I know.
I don't get it.
But here, I will say this too, though. I think if you said right now, with everything that I know, because I did a little bit of travel. I didn't do much. Like, I mean, I wasn't a fan. If you said, hey, music or 20 sides, I would be 20 sides.
Really?
I would. And here's why.
If you could do one for a living.
I think I would do 20 sides.
You'd do 20 sides.
I think I would. And here's why. Music, I love it.
Yeah.
Love music. I love playing. I love the creative part of it. I love all that kind of stuff. But like when you get in like a 15-passenger vans with like 5 dudes.
Oh yeah,
that
would suck for sure.
Yeah, that part was not fun. And then it's like, how much do you actually get paid, and then how does that pay actually work, and then who's actually getting what versus whatever, and you're like, so because the last with
if it was $1 million a year
to play music,
both either of them,
I think 20 sides.
Yeah,
I think so. I feel like I get to be more creative with
for sure
with D&D than with music, and because a lot of it is you are kind of stuck in a box, like no matter what music you're doing, like. You're kind of stuck in a box, and you're appeasing.
Yes.
Where with D&D, like
you do whatever you want.
What you would do?
Yeah.
You want to do that? Cool.
Yeah.
Like so I think there's a little more of that for me than.
Oh man, that would be a hard decision for me.
It would be hard.
It would be such a hard decision.
Yeah.
Clearly.
Well, right. Yeah. But I would be the same way. I think about like.
Is that just because you're in it right now, though?
Maybe. I think about Nick and Tyler, too.
Yeah.
Like you have to travel.
Oh, for sure.
With music, you have to.
Yeah.
And so I think about that where like Nick's on tour right now, and you know,
it's hard. Yeah,
it's hard.
It's hard.
That part's hard.
Yeah.
And so I think about that.
I think it would be so cool. Like if 20 Sides got big enough to where we had a.
I think touring with 20 Sides would be fantastic.
Unbelievably fun.
See, I think that would be fun.
Yes.
When I think about music traveling.
Yeah.
And like bouncing from, and I've been in those venues and stuff where it's like, screw this, dude.
Yeah, it stinks. Like, and it's like, there's,
like,
for sure.
Who took a dump in the corner and why hasn't it been cleaned up yet?
Turn on the lights around here every once in a while, y'all.
Come on, dude. And so I think about that part too, where it's like, again, and it would be you all.
Right.
You know what I mean? Versus like when I traveled, it was like, I don't know this guy.
Yeah.
Like, and I never came across anybody that wasn't like cool and whatever. And I made some really good friends doing that.
But think about like hanging out with Mark and Logan.
Oh, yeah.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, it'd be a blast.
I think it would be so cool if it got big enough to where we could have like a small retail front and in the back have like the studio.
Sure.
That would be so cool to me.
That would be fun.
I don't know what we would sell in the front.
No, I mean, I think you would. I mean, it would be a gaming store probably. Yeah. But yeah,
there's just no money in that stuff.
I know. But again, that's what's hard about the music stuff, is that like
especially nowadays.
Especially now, $1 million a year, like that's cool.
Yeah. How you get in there?
Right, and then like who do you have to pay back that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
100%.
And what kind of deal is it? And then how, so there's all that too. I do think it would be. I do think it'd be 20 Sides.
It'd be more fun.
I don't know. It'd be more. I don't think it'd be more fun.
The one tricky thing, like music never ebbs and flows, right? Like music will always be always be
right.
Where tabletop RPGs are going to ebb and flow.
Sure, but I think it's about storytelling, and storytelling doesn't ebb and flow. People always love a good story.
Well, that's true.
And so it's about.
But do people find you? If TTRPGs, like if TTRPG starts to nosedive, 20 Sides is going to take a hit just because, not because of anything we're doing or not doing, just because
I think that you could say the same for any podcasting category.
For sure, 100%.
But the reason that true crime stays number one and on the top,
it's because of 30-year-old white women.
But it's, sure, I also like it. But it's storytelling. It's the storytelling.
Yeah.
They're telling a story, and it's a captivating story typically.
A lot of death.
A lot of death.
Has to be.
Yep, a lot of weird people.
A lot of weird people.
Wicked people.
Yeah.
And so I think because it's storytelling, and that's what people align with most.
Yeah.
I think it'll have its place. Now, again, if you get big enough. When you get big enough.
Yeah.
Whatever. But like if you look, I think the last that I looked, the top 5, like 3 of them were like true crime podcasts. And it was like Joe Rogan and something else.
Yeah.
Not like, because you can't look like right now. We're the top 5 right now.
Right.
Because then it's like Meghan Markle started her podcast and everybody jumped on it for a second.
And it's going to die in 3 months. Yeah.
But it's like.
It's wild how everyone has a podcast now. And I know that's like the joke, like everybody has a podcast, but
everybody
even the famous people now, all of them have a podcast.
Yep. They do.
And it's just a way to keep them famous.
Mm-hmm. Well, and it's because it's in the grand scheme, it looks easy. It's not easy.
Sure.
It looks easy. And if you have somebody backing you. So like Amy Poehler just started hers.
Yeah.
Right? Well, one, all her friends are super famous people.
Exactly.
And anybody would love to listen to her and Jack Black talk.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's going to be an easy grab.
Yeah.
Which means it's also an easy grab for advertisers. Which means that the studio that's helping you out is going to love to work with you from day one.
Yes.
Like, and so for them,
easy
peasy. And they just get to sit and chat with their friends.
Yeah.
Like, so
think about being famous now is you're out there all the time. Your whole life is out there. Where I listened to Danny McBride on, maybe it was Conan's podcast.
He's
maybe it
hilarious,
wasn't.
Dude, Danny McBride, dude, his characters
Conan is hilarious.
Oh, yeah.
Conan is the OG.
Yeah.
But I mean, maybe it wasn't. I know I listened to him on his podcast, but I heard he was talking about how he doesn't have any social media. He tried it for a little bit and he was like, this isn't for me.
Yeah.
And he was like, if you're trying to convince somebody, and maybe now that I'm thinking about it, it may not have been Danny McBride. No, it wasn't Danny McBride. It was Ben Affleck on Theo Von's podcast.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
And he was talking about
a little bit of a turn there.
Yeah, a little bit of turn. Look,
a little different.
Yeah, just a little bit. But he was talking about if you're trying to convince somebody that you're a character in a movie, and they get to see you all the time on Instagram and on Twitter and on YouTube and on podcast, like you have a podcast, like you're always in their face, being you. When you're on screen, then it's so much harder for them to disconnect from reality and jump into the story that you're trying to create.
Yeah.
And he was like, I don't do any of that stuff.
Yeah.
He's like, because I want people to be able to disconnect. And because they were making, like, Theo Von was like, every time we see you, like, you look just depressed and like mad and like, he's like the cigarette names and all that stuff. Yeah. And he was like, he's like, because every time they take a picture of me, they have annoyed me to be like that.
Right. That's so funny.
But
but it's true. I think for the first time too, you're seeing tiers of celebrity. Where used to it was like you were either a rock star or a movie star.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much it. Or you were a politician.
Yeah.
Like,
right.
Whatever. And that was it. That was the only way to really be famous.
Yeah.
But now there's like tiers.
There's so many famous people. I thought about that with Livy Dunn the other day. And I was like, she's a gymnast.
Sure.
She's a gymnast.
Sure.
But she's not good enough to be on the U.S. Olympic team.
No.
And gymnastics isn't big enough to be like an NFL quarterback.
Right.
So
or a college quarterback.
Right. That's not big enough.
Right.
So I was like, it was some red carpet thing that her and I guess Skeens were on or something. And I was like, she's famous for being famous? Like, it's weird.
Right. But Paul Skeens
is famous for being the best pitcher on the planet.
Well,
essentially.
He was Rookie of the Year.
Yes.
And she is more famous than he is.
Absolutely.
Like, when has that ever been? Unless you were a movie star or like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Because what is Verlander's wife?
No clue.
Oh, yeah. She was
Justin Verlander?
Yeah. Kate Upton.
Really?
Yes. So,
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So again, she was a model.
Yeah.
Like Victoria's Secret, like all that kind of stuff. Everybody knew who she was, right?
Oh, I'm thinking of Kate Hudson.
Oh, no. Kate Upton.
Yeah.
So Verlander, like, obviously he one of the greatest pitchers to have ever pitched.
For sure.
But maybe she's a little more like than he is.
She's a little more photogenic,
right?
Some would say.
A little bit. But like, that's not usually the thing. Usually whoever the big superstar is, like Derek Jeter, who's his wife.
Well, that was a bad example.
Well, that is. Cut that.
Brock Purdy.
Yeah. Brock Purdy, sure.
Yeah.
But I'm saying like
Jalen Hurts.
Or like
who's his wife.
A-Rod.
Also not a great example.
Never mind.
Not a great example. You're giving the worst. You gave the two worst possible examples you can give. Juan Soto.
I know. Sure.
Yeah,
but I was trying to think like all-time
greats.
High greats. Like
Joe Montana.
Sure. Joe Montana.
Yeah.
Yes. Like people like that.
Tom Brady's also Giselle. Yeah,
but like normally,
right.
You're not going to know because that person is the famous one.
Yeah.
And they're not.
Yeah.
Right. So, like, but now Livy Dunn is way more famous than Paul Skeens is, even though he's the best pitcher in Major League Baseball.
And it's almost like she got popular for for dance. I'm assuming
Yeah,
she
it's
danced.
TikTok.
Is it TikTok?
It was like TikTok
okay.
stuff, yeah.
So,
and
but
she's
then,
hot. Like,
yeah.
She's attractive. She's pretty.
Yeah.
She's a gymnast.
Yes.
She's doing the dance stuff.
So it's
Yes,
like,
sure.
But then eventually they just get famous and stay famous for being famous.
Right. Because they have like millions of followers.
It's wild.
Right.
And it's like you're not doing anything anymore to be famous.
Right.
Literally nothing.
Well, and there's a ton of people. So like, and it's crazy because so we have at our gym, there's a little boy. So we always see his mom or whatever, and we've talked to her. And husband's a dentist.
Mm-hmm.
They live in Franklin.
Yeah.
He obviously makes really good money.
He ain't
like
hurting.
she doesn't work.
Right.
But she decided to do like Amazon hauls.
Yeah.
And like on social media or whatever.
Uh-huh.
She has like 150,000 followers. And all she really does is like, hey, like as a mom, I found these things from Amazon that fit really well and that like match with whatever.
And now they just send her stuff, probably.
Right. They send her stuff. And then she gets, like she'll post a link to it. People go, she gets a portion of that when they buy, like all that kind of stuff,
That's
right?
so wild.
And like, and that's just what she decided to do at home. Like, so it wasn't like anybody was behind her or backed her or like anything like that.
And so, because that's the new commercial.
Right.
But and
they've even so it was.
But think about how much better that is for if you're advertising than it is to put it on a random TLC show.
Right.
It's so crazy how much more specific you can be in advertising now.
Do you watch have you watched TV in a while? Like, do you watch just like a regular channel?
No.
So the last time that I did, I was watching the Magic Celtics when the last week.
Wow.
Like when it's at night like that and I'm working, like
I'll put
some
I got you.
And so because usually my iPad is sitting right here.
Yeah.
And I'm working, but it's on. All the commercials,
Mm-hmm.
this was, so we're talking, this is playoffs.
Yeah.
And the commercials were all like what you would see during the middle of the day.
Yeah.
Type stuff where it was like,
because
call this number.
That's who's watching TV now.
Right. So it's like even advertising is like now, like it's sports. So there was like Bud Light commercial or something like that.
Sure.
But most of it was like infomercial looking type stuff.
That's wild.
Yeah. Playoffs. Now it was like TNT, I think.
Yeah.
So a little different there too. But still, it's playoffs.
We were talking about that with Owen the other day, and I was like, think about when we were talking about just things that get popular real fast and then die off in like 2 or 3 or 4 years, like all the cupcake places that were around like 10 years ago that aren't around anymore.
Not a thing anymore, yeah.
And then we were talking about malls and how malls used to be huge and malls aren't really that much of a thing anymore.
Right.
And how back then in like the early 90s, you either had to look in a catalog,
right, yeah,
or you had to go to the store.
Right.
You couldn't shop on. You couldn't
and
just
the Sears
look it up
catalog
online.
was like this.
Yes,
It was like,
Or the service merchandise catalog, bro.
Dude.
Your boy's killing it during Christmas time with the service merchandise. Or the Toys R Us catalog.
Oh yeah.
And back then, you would have to look at the catalog, or you would have to go to the stores and walk around. And like you would go to a mall for like 3 hours.
Oh yeah.
Or
like a mall rat, like who just hung out there and like for sure.
Or you had to watch TV and see it on TV
because they always had the toy commercials.
Right,
so that you could,
right.
Yep.
And now,
oh yeah,
YouTube ads, and stuff.
Okay,
that's crazy. I mean, think about how
like check this
different it is.
And here's what's so crazy about that. It's so pointed, and because
for sure.
Okay, I'm not a golfer.
Right.
I don't really. I enjoy watching like the Masters. It's like the only time because it's like the championship and whatever. Anyway, I used to back in the day. Terrible at it. Always have been.
It's because Tiger Woods exists.
Yes, Joe is coming in town and he turning 40, and he was like, "Hey, do y'all want to get something to eat?" And I was like, "We're doing Mother's Day stuff."
Yeah.
And Brent Whitehead was like, "Let's get a tea time."
Yeah.
And I was like, "What?" And they were like, they're like scratch golfers. They love to play. They're both really good.
Yeah.
And so Joe was like, "Yeah, I'm down."
Yeah.
And Brent's like, "All right, Phil, you in?" And I was like, "Ugh." I was like, I mean,
Do you have clubs?
I know, no. And that's what I told them. I was like, I don't have clubs.
Yeah.
I was like, and Brent's like, I got an extra set, like all good. And I was like, as long as y'all let me drop as many times as I want and don't count it against me,
then we're good.
I'm good.
Yeah.
And they were like, yeah, we don't care. You
Yeah.
know, whatever. Cool. The next day, that was a text conversation.
Yeah.
I told Caitlin, here's what's going to happen, blah, 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 whatever. Yeah. The next day,
start getting golf ads.
I'm getting golf ads.
That's incredible.
And I'm like, and I downloaded an app. Like, because one of the ads was, it's called like the 19th hole or whatever.
Yeah.
But like you on your watch as you're playing, like it will tell you how far away from the hole you are. And
that's
like,
crazy.
And like what club to use. So it's basically like a caddy on your wrist.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, that sounds fantastic. I don't play golf and I'm about to go play golf.
Yeah.
But that's how pointed it was. And I didn't even search for anything.
That's nuts.
Well, I take that back. That we're playing at Indian Hills or something.
Yeah.
And so the only thing I did on my phone was search where Indian Hills Golf Club was.
Yeah.
That's all I did. And then from there, I'm getting a dude.
Sheesh.
All kind. And so now ads are so pointed.
Yeah.
That they don't even have to guess.
What did I buy on Amazon the other day? Here's what I hate about Amazon or about things like this is that you can buy one thing that's clearly like, hey, this is just a one-time purchase.
Right, it's a one-off.
Like, I'm never going to buy this again in my life, and I don't need... the hairpin legs. I bought hairpin legs, right? Mm-hmm. Hey, I bought them.
Right.
I don't need 800 ads about hairpin legs.
Yeah.
I'm not going to buy more hairpin legs. Like, I'm just going to become this, like, hairpin leg connoisseur or something.
It's just collect
That's too much. That's when it gets to be.
Yes.
Like, it ought to be able to track somehow.
Right.
Like, take all my data.
Yeah.
I don't care. I'm not one of those people that's like, don't get my data. Don't come after my data. I don't even know what you're going to take from my data.
Right.
Like, take my social. I don't care. Like, I don't even care. But, like, it should be able to say, hey, he bought these. We're not going to send him more ads about it.
Right.
It's like when you buy like drain cleaner or something. Once you've bought it, your drain is now clean.
Right.
Or if you buy like PVC to fix a pipe or something.
Sure.
Like, you just fixed it. You don't need to keep getting ads about it. I didn't become a plumber.
Right. I took care of what I needed to take care of. Leave me alone. Yeah. So what's crazy is we have one of our clients is like Facebook ads is what they do. Like that's their whole thing is Facebook ads. And they now have a way. So now anybody can do this.
Yeah.
Like for 20 sides, we can do this.
Yeah.
Where you set up your ad to say, here's the followers that I have.
Okay.
Here's the ones that engage with me the most.
Yeah.
I want this ad to target people like them.
That's crazy.
Right? And so you can set those parameters to say, look at my followers, look at who engages, find more people like that.
Yeah.
And target this ad to them.
That's wild.
Now it's up to you what the ad is and if it actually attracts people or whatever. But it's so pointed that you can literally say, or you can say, hey, look at everybody that engaged, find the people that didn't follow me, and I want this ad to target them. Right?
That's pretty cool.
So they engaged.
Yeah.
They obviously liked or were interested in whatever they saw.
Right.
But they just kept going.
Yeah.
Happens all the time.
Yeah,
like
100%.
Everybody does that.
Haha, that's funny. Keep it moving.
Keep going.
Yeah.
Or, oh, I like that. Okay.
Yeah.
On. Right? No follow, nothing like that. I want this ad to target that person. And they go, okay. Here you go.
Nuts.
Yeah. So it's crazy. Like
and used to, they would spend like $500,000 for an ad on
and
during
the Super Bowl.
During Room Crashers on MTV or something like that.
Dude.
What was it called? The house show?
Something, or whoa.
Not Room Crasher. What was the
house?
Not House Hunters. That was
not house. Or something was like House Crash or.
What was the Cribs?
Well, I know Cribs.
I'm thinking Cribs. That's what I was thinking of.
There was another one that's like something Crashers. I know what you're talking about. I don't remember what exactly what it was.
But like you just have to guess.
Yeah.
They want the new Yahtzee ad.
Right.
That's crazy. And now I can target people that love board games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can like
target Yahtzee.
In Instagram if we wanted to.
Yahtzee is doing so much better because of that.
Oh, so much better.
The people clamoring to get the new
Yahtzee app. The new Yahtzee app. Have you seen that they're
Dude, can you imagine playing Yahtzee on an app?
Okay, but look, check this.
Dude, if you play
all the
Nazi
games,
on an app, you should be committed.
Did you ever play like Phase 10 or like
don't know what that is.
Skip-Bo or any of those games? So like we would like in high school, there'd be like 12 of us playing like Phase 10 or whatever.
Okay.
And it's basically you draw a card and you try to get like a certain number of this or a certain number of that or whatever. And then like, but people can block you or you can whatever.
Yeah.
A lot of fun.
That's fun when you're in person and doing that. Yeah.
They have a Phase 10 app now.
Dude, if you're doing that on
all those games,
on a phone,
right? But all the games that we used to play,
you're committed, dude. You should be committed. If you're playing Yahtzee on a phone, we got a better fight.
Yeah, but like here's the thing: it's gotten to where they're out of ideas.
Oh, 100%.
Nothing's fun anymore.
Agreed.
So they're taking all the things that were fun
and just redoing
them on an app instead of like making people do it in person.
Well, that's like redoing every video game and every movie. There's no new ideas.
The remakes have to like.
It's too much. Yeah,
it's got to stop.
But they don't have any good ideas. Or I guess it's cheaper. Well, no, it's probably because it costs so much to do something that if I know I can release another Harry Potter, I'm going to get everybody that likes Harry Potter to go see it.
Yeah.
And I'm guaranteed to make my money back.
Right.
Where if I come up with a new fantasy idea that's nobody knows about, if it craps, then we're out millions of dollars.
Or like you're just gonna like piss all those people off like Rings of Power did.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, dude.
And like, here's what's crazy. I liked Rings of Power.
I did too.
I liked it. So like my neighbor.
Have you finished the whole everything that's been released?
Yeah, I'm caught up.
I like it.
I liked it.
Yeah.
So like my neighbor, him and his brothers were like pretty deep in Lord of the Rings stuff.
Yeah.
Like, which is funny, he never played D&D, and like he said his parents were like, it was that age of like whatever. But he was like, I could see totally liking that. He's like, we really liked Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
And but he also thought the Hobbits were terrible movies, which
they kind of are. They're not good.
But for what
they're okay.
But for what it's worth. And that's how I view Rings of Power. Like it's just a good, like it's a show. Like it doesn't have to be perfect. I'm not looking for Tolkien's approval. You know what I mean? Like,
dude, if you here's the funny thing. If you like, I'll be on Reddit.
Yeah.
Reddit hates everything.
You can't get on Reddit.
Can't get on anything. No. You can't get on anything. Everybody hates everything.
Right.
And it's like do you watch The Last of Us?
Yeah.
Are you caught up?
I haven't watched this most recent one.
So you've seen the first two?
Yes.
So you've seen the big thing that happened? Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I have.
So I like it.
Yeah. I think
it's really good.
I think it was good. Yeah.
And I think that episode was really, really good. And that's exactly what happens in the video game to a degree. Like it's almost identical to what happens in the video game, apparently. And I was like, oh, I'm going to go. Like, I love reading the theories and all that stuff when I'm watching shows. Sure. And so I pull up the Reddit threads, and it's like, just bashing it to no end.
They hated it.
And I was like, I thought I liked this. Maybe I hate it too. maybe I'm wrong.
But see,
maybe I don't like it.
Right, and that's like I tell Caitlin, because Caitlin, if she'll get on Reddit to like read about things. I'm like, don't get on Reddit to read about it. It's only going to be the negative.
Yes.
Like no, but
you'll just hate it.
But think about this too. Like, how many times do you like get something and then go leave a positive review?
Never.
But like, have you ever thought about leaving a negative review on something where you're like, this is terrible, and I would probably tell people it was terrible?
Maybe.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Because you're more apt to be like, hey,
you're angry and you're
or it's like, I would rather people know what they're going to get.
Yeah.
Hey, don't buy this.
Yeah.
Like it looks good, but what you get is this. Yeah. Right. Being informative, whatever.
People that were happy didn't say, hey, I'm happy.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
100%. Mm-hmm. But also, I start to agree with it a little bit. I'm like, no.
Well, I get perspective.
So I gotta stop reading.
I get perspective. So I did read about the Rings of Power stuff.
Yeah.
And how everybody was talking about like, well, that's not actually how it is written, or that's not exactly how it goes down. And I'm like,
I don't care.
I know, but I'm like, oh, okay, I get that you wanted it to be like, you wanted it to be exact. I get that. That's how the story is.
Yeah.
You wanted to follow the story.
Right.
This part didn't really follow the story, and that kind of made you be like,
right.
Cool, I get that. There were Harry Potter people like that too.
I'm sure.
Like, and so I'm like, but I'm with you on that, where I kind of go, oh, well, it wasn't. I didn't know because I haven't read any of that. But then I'm like, I mean, but it was good.
Yeah.
It was good. It's fine. It was good. I kind of liked it.
That's what, it's so funny to me. I'll watch something and be like, that was so good. And then I'll start reading about it on Reddit and everybody's like, this is the worst thing that has ever come out.
So, okay, hot take.
This was worse than Date Your Mom on MTV.
Right.
Like.
Okay, here's a hot take for you.
Yeah.
The last season of Game of Thrones was not that bad. If you watch it as a one-off and you don't compare it to everything else that came before it, it's not that bad. Now, if you put it in succession with everything else.
I think that's the problem.
When you put it in succession with it, because I went back and watched it by itself. Just the last season. And when I watched it, I was like, okay, it's not that bad. It's not a great ending.
No.
It's not a great ending.
It's a bad ending.
But it's not a
it's an awful ending.
It's because you're comparing it to how the entire thing
went. And you can't not.
Well, sure, I agree. I agree. And the first time I watched it, exact same thing. Exact thing where I was like, this is terrible.
I think I was okay with everything until either the final episode or...
Right, yes.
Like,
to me, it's
my biggest thing.
The last two were too fast and too much.
Yeah, and
all at one time, and it didn't actually...
And it threw away all of the buildup that had been going for years. Like, Bran doesn't matter.
At all.
Like, what's the purpose of anything he did? Like, what's the purpose of bringing Jon Snow... Spoilers. Is that spoilers at this point? It's not spoilers.
It's not.
What's the point of even bringing him back from the dead?
Right.
Like, if you're going to bring him back from the dead, he clearly plays a big role.
Well, right. And, like, there's so many, like, side things. Like, I thought him being a Targaryen was going to be made a much bigger deal.
Not at all. Didn't matter.
So why even
None of it mattered.
So why even tell us?
It's crazy. Why does Bran warg?
Right. For what?
Make it
make sense.
Something.
So again, but that's all in comparison to the entire series. When I went back and just watched that season, I was kind of like,
it's making me angry just thinking about it.
I know. But when I watched it just as it's by itself, I was kind of like, one, there were some epic episodes.
Oh, dude.
So, yes. In that season, there were some...
Oh, in the last season?
Yes.
Okay.
There were some epic episodes there.
Yeah. Sure.
They were there.
Sure.
Now, did it amount to anything or did it? No. But when you watch it just as the last season, it's kind of like, if that had been a one-off story, you'd have been like, that was okay.
Here's a hot take.
Sure.
I don't really like House of the Dragon. I think it's boring.
I would say this.
And no one's a good character. There are no good or bad. Everybody's gray.
So here's my thing.
I don't care.
And you finished it. You watched it all.
Yeah, we finished
it.
Maybe. I don't even remember.
So here's what I'll say. I think if you had taken the 2 seasons and condensed them into one, it would be really good.
Maybe.
Because here's the thing. There are things that happen.
Sure.
And I guess no, whatever, spoilers or whatever. But like, the kid dies, like all that stuff, right? Like, if that had been mid-season, season 1,
right,
and then you had everything that happens in season 2 condensed into where like things are actually happening, then season 1 ends, you'd have been like, it's not great. It's not Game of Thrones season 1,
right?
But you'd be like, that's pretty good.
I think part of it is the end of Game of Thrones has soured anything in Westeros
for sure,
and then I think at some point. I want good and bad. I don't need everybody to be so gray that it's like, oh, the bad guy's good and the good guy's bad and the bad guy's bad and the good guy's good. And it's like, no, none of this. That's kind of why I like Rings of Power, because I'm like, I know who the good guy is and I know who the bad guy is.
Now you do. Well, and that's what I liked about it. There was like, there was a twist.
Like,
So like,
Sauron.
So there was like, they left a little bit up to
Galadriel was good.
Well, yeah. Right. But I'm talking about like, that's the good thing. There's a little bit of a twist there. There's whatever.
I know who to root for.
Right.
And I don't feel like I'm getting.
I think you do.
The short end of the.
I think you do. Yeah, I think you do. You know who the rightful heir is.
Who?
It's her.
Yeah.
Dad told her that, and that's what he was saying to wife.
But she's also banging her uncle.
Oh, agreed. I'm not saying her morals are correct. what I'm saying is that in the story, you know who's right.
Yes, 100%. But I think they
And
all
also
do so much wrong.
The kid,
The Patch Boy.
Patch Boy, he's obviously bad.
Yeah.
Well, you root against him.
I know, but it's
So, I mean,
just
there's some of it. But again, here's my thing. Okay, you hype it up, and then you give me less than an hour
Yeah.
of nothing.
Oh, 100%. That's why you need to watch Wheel of Time, dude. I'm telling you, it's good.
I watched Wheel of Time.
Did you watch the last season? Last season of Wheel of Time is better than the last season of Game of Thrones.
Okay, this is what I'll say.
That's a hot take. Okay, wait.
There's 2 seasons of Wheel of Time?
3.
Okay, I have not watched the third.
Third season,
I didn't make it through number 2.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. The first season is the worst, like, rated. The last season is, like, really highly rated.
So I've watched the first season, and when the second season started, I got like halfway through, and I lost interest.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Wheel of Time reminds me way more of Dungeons and Dragons than Game of Thrones does.
I think so, yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
It wasn't bad. I just lost interest.
Sure.
And me and you are different in this.
Yeah.
You lose interest because it's terrible.
Yes.
I lose interest because I just lost interest. It doesn't mean it's not good.
Okay.
That's how
it doesn't make sense, but okay.
Sure. But we differ that way because, I mean, obviously you loved it.
Yes, I really liked it.
And that's fair.
There's something else that HBO just released that's like...
Wheel of Time is Amazon.
It is, yeah, 100%. Yeah. I'm thinking, no, it's not Wheel of Time. It's Andor on Disney Plus. The Star Wars.
Yeah.
The latest season of Andor is the highest rated.
I've heard it's really good.
I haven't watched it.
I'm not a Star Wars person. Oh, should I not say that?
I mean, I think people kind of hate Star Wars now.
I've watched, so.
Okay, here's a hot take. You ready for the hottest take that has ever existed?
Blow me down.
All right, big bad wolf. All right, 3 little pigs. Look, here's the hottest of hot takes.
Okay.
The original Star Wars.
Yes.
So 4, 5, and 6.
Okay.
Are not as good as the last trilogy that was released.
Okay.
With Rey.
Okay. I think I only saw the first one with Rey.
That is the hottest of hot takes that have ever existed.
Well, let me say this.
They may shut us down.
They might, and that's okay.
If this goes on YouTube at any point,
it will.
We're getting shut down.
It will. Here's the thing.
It's, dude, the acting in the 70s, the ones that came out in the 70s.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Trash.
I think
so bad, dude.
Let me say this. So I have a kind of two-sided view of this because I didn't really watch any of it.
Yeah.
And my dad wasn't a Star Wars guy.
Right.
He saw them when they came out, whatever, but he wasn't obsessed. And so I never saw them.
Yeah.
Okay, this is going to blow you away. I think you know this. 2020 was when I watched Star Wars.
I do remember that.
And again, I was at home.
Yes.
It was on Disney.
Yes.
I didn't have anything to do.
Mm-hmm.
And so I literally, while Emma would take a nap in my arms while I watched Star Wars.
Yeah.
Here's my two-sided view of it. I totally get why people were obsessed in the
100% back then, yes, 100%.
Because they had not seen anything on screen like that. Nothing had ever been done that way. And so I think the bad acting that was there was masked by what was being done on screen. Like things shooting through outer space and like all this. And it was kind of like, so you had, Harrison Ford though, like.
Dude.
Right, but
we're gonna get
destroyed,
crushed in the comments,
and that's okay.
Yeah.
Crush me.
Crush us. The engagement is great.
I'm here for it.
Yeah.
The acting was not great. Harrison Ford that was his first acting gig. He was a carpenter. He was not an actor. So like
didn't know that. But,
not a thing.
Okay, yeah.
Right.
Can tell.
Yeah.
Come on, kid.
But I get why people were obsessed. I get it.
Yes.
It's almost like here's another thing that's gonna be crushed. We're gonna be crushed for. The Beatles.
Oh, I don't like the Beatles. You know this about me.
I do. But I get why people were obsessed.
Yes, 100%.
I get it.
I totally get it.
I get it.
But also they were a boy band.
Sure. But nobody had ever really done that before in that way before.
Dude, you know what I said that's the most Nostradamus thing that has ever existed? Do you know what I said?
What?
Like 15 years ago? Legit. I remember saying this multiple times.
Go for it.
I said if Taylor Swift would grow with her audience and she wouldn't keep making music like she did in the first like 2 or 3 albums.
Yeah.
And she would grow because I was like, she's no longer going to be a 22-year-old girl, a 24-year-old girl.
Right.
And you're going to have to grow and stop making like pop music.
Well, it's pop country at the time. It wasn't even like.
But even like past that, well, maybe not past that. I was like, she could be the next Beatles. Mm-hmm. And dude, if your boy didn't call it.
Called it.
Here's what I think. So, I think somebody told her what I said.
Oh, 100%.
That's what I think.
100%. So here's the thing too, and I think we both realized this because we would both say that our like dirty secret is that we loved Taylor Swift.
Yeah,
when she
100%.
First came out.
Yeah.
Incredible songwriter.
Yes.
We could tell. Now we would both be like, she can't really sing.
Dude, I remember playing World of Warcraft.
Oh.
With a little Yorkie dog sitting in my lap. Dude, listening to Taylor Swift.
Yeah, for sure.
Just questioning what I'm doing in life.
For sure. Yeah. But again, because her songwriting was so good.
Yes.
It was so catchy.
Right.
Like Katy Perry.
Yeah.
So catchy.
Dude, Teenage Dream is such a bop.
Okay.
Is that what the kids say?
I don't know. Emma.
Yeah.
One of her friends or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
What song is it? Firework.
Yeah.
It's on some movie or something, and they were listening, and she was like, "Can we listen to Firework?" And I was like,
"Yeah,
yes, we can." And I just turned on Katy Perry, like, "Let's go, girl."
Yeah.
Like, so. Anyways, but I get why people were obsessed with the Beatles.
Yes.
At that time, nobody had ever heard anything like that.
And I get why people were obsessed with Star Wars.
I get it.
It just wasn't good.
It wasn't a thing. But as we've gotten further with technology and as we've gotten further with our understanding, this too, the Beatles were a worldwide phenomenon because you didn't have access to much of anything.
Well, that's true too. The competition wasn't as
way less. Like, if you think about it.
Yeah.
Who is the record label going to push?
Yeah.
That's what you're going to get.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so even Elvis, like the King stole all his music. I mean, but I know, don't strike me down.
I didn't say that.
I'm just saying.
He said that one.
It's true. Like, everybody pretty much knows that.
Oh, no, he definitely stole it.
Oh, yeah.
100%.
Now, phenomenal voice. I get it.
Right.
I get it. Totally.
I mean, he's definitely dead, though.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Maybe. There's a preacher that could be. Dude. But again, I think we've seen now, like, we know that at that time, there was probably better.
Yeah.
Like, if you had Elvis today, like, would he have the impact that he had when he was first coming out?
No.
I don't think so.
No. But also...
Maybe.
But
maybe.
We still have those, like, huge... But I don't think they last as long anymore.
Right.
Like, I don't think, like, as big as Sabrina Carpenter is right now, she's...
Right.
I don't think she'll
give her a few years.
Yeah.
And it'll probably tail off.
Like, there's not going to be a Graceland.
Like Katy Perry.
Yeah.
Like, massive. Well, but again, Graceland is what it is because... There was nobody to compete with him. And he was...
Dude, you know what I said? I think we've had this conversation about Graceland.
Yeah.
How many years before Graceland shuts down?
I don't know, dude. People flock to it.
But do they?
Yeah, they do.
I don't think they do.
Tyler's sister-in-law just set up an Airbnb for it.
Yeah, I know, but how many people are really going to Graceland? You know what I mean? Like, in 20 years.
Right, when the boomers are gone.
Yeah.
When the boomers are gone.
Are they going to have enough people to go to Graceland to keep it open?
Well, no, it's paid for. It's like his granddaughter.
Yeah, but they still got to pay to upkeep it, and you got to pay the people that work there and stuff like that.
Sure, but if nobody's coming, they'll just close it all.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying they're going to burn it to the ground.
Well, they might. Yeah, I don't know. Probably not. I think when the boomers are gone, I think there will be some people.
Is it wild that Graceland's been a thing for
a long time.
Long time. Star Wars has been a thing since the 70s.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been 50 years of Star Wars.
Yeah.
How much longer can they go? Here's the one thing I do like about them creating these shows, setting these worlds, is that it's a whole different world. They need to branch off or branch away from the Darth Vader time and the Luke Skywalker and the Yoda time. Like, go 300 years into the future.
Yeah.
And that way, all that's in the past, and you get to create all new characters, all new bad guys, and all these things. And
but see, I think that's the beauty. I think that's the beauty of it. I think that's why Lucas probably sold it. It was because he was like,
I can't do anymore.
I can't do anymore.
Yeah.
You're going to have to get new people in here to create something new based off of this. And I think they probably will. That's the beauty of it. That's the beauty of it. I think they could, and I think they will. That's how they'll keep money coming out of it.
That's what you got to do.
Yeah. For sure.
And the same with Lord of the Rings. Like if now the Tolkien estate won't give up the rights to it.
Right.
If they would, they could probably create some other really cool stories within that world.
Right.
That's what I think they could do with a lot of these things, as opposed to just rehashing the same crap over and over and over and over again.
Right. No, I completely
That's
agree.
like the Marvel universe. That's what they're doing.
Yeah.
They're creating
smart.
Now, I don't know how
good
good it's been since, the whole Thanos thing.
Right. Yeah, but that was going to be a hard one to beat.
Oh,
like how do you beat that?
Yeah, at that point you're like, dang it got too big.
And it got too good. It was too big, too good. You had like all the best actors that could have fit those roles were in it.
Agreed.
And you're not going to get better than
you
that.
can't.
So
you can't. And you've already used all the biggest heroes. Like the superheroes. You've already used the biggest ones.
The Reddit stuff about the Captain America new whatever was kind of like meh. Like it's not great. But again, you're comparing it to like and so
you can't really I feel like with Star Wars you can create new because you can create new heroes, you can create new villains and all that kind of stuff. You can use the worlds, or you can even have different worlds.
Yeah.
Almost the same for Lord of the Rings. If you wanted to create a new dwarf or whatever.
Yeah.
You can't really do that for Marvel, though.
No, I mean, I think that there's
like you can create a new superhero.
And again, like I don't know enough about Marvel. I know a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, but I don't like, and especially the way that they connected like different like realms and stuff together.
Yes.
It got a little too weird timeliney or like time travel-y.
Yes.
But like being able to connect things that way, I think made it where they could kind of like jump to other things that haven't even been created yet. Where I know a lot of it, they've like just relied on comic books and whatever. Yeah. But then like branching to something new, they probably could.
They could,
if they wanted to, especially now that they're adding X-Men in.
See, now that's the route they need to go is X-Men now.
Yeah, it opens up all that too, and so it is interesting. But I think again, we are able to compare all those things. Like back in the day with like the Beatles and Star Wars.
There was nothing to compare it. Right.
There wasn't anything to compare it to.
Yeah.
And that's why it was hyped as long as it was. Like think about Kiss.
Oh, it's just trash.
And like
throw it away.
Right. But it's a phenomenon.
It is.
Like and
it's so weird
and it's because nobody's seen anything like it.
Yeah.
Nobody had seen. They had these big stacks on.
Yeah.
They were all black. This face paint.
Right.
And they're doing. It was very 70s pop rock.
Yeah. 100%,
is what it was.
100%.
And people loved it.
Oh man.
Because they'd never seen anything like it.
Oh,
that's
man.
why.
I probably would have liked it.
For sure. It would have been different enough.
Yeah.
It would have been different enough. And some of the songs are good. Like, if you listen back to it, some of you're like, I get it.
Maybe.
I get it.
Yeah.
Like, but nobody's seen it like, they had nothing to compare it to.
And think about how much harder it was to make music back then.
Oh, yeah. Unless you're Bob Dylan. And then it was just like, whatever.
Dude.
He just made whatever.
His stuff's still good.
Yeah.
I listen to that probably like think about, once every 2 weeks on the way to work. Dude, I'll throw on some.
But think about, too, what he did. And so, like, here's what's crazy. He revolutionized things just because he wanted to record music. Not because he was trying to.
Exactly.
The basement tapes. Like, the basement tapes where they were all just in a room and set up microphones.
Making great music.
He was making music. Yeah. But nobody had ever recorded music like that.
Yeah. It
had always been on tape, one person at a time. And so... In the basement of a house, they set up all their microphones and all play at the same time, and he released those, and it changed how they recorded music.
Like he 100%, and it's always the people.
No, he couldn't sing. He couldn't sing. No. He couldn't play guitar. He was a terrible
his guitar
playing
player. Is like.
It was very like flamenco like style kind of stuff.
But it was very. I mean, it was obviously like very finger picky.
Yeah.
But it was. It wasn't terrible.
It was like 60s
It is almost like a style of its own. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What was it? It wasn't like folk, but it was folk. It was
definitely
like,
folk.
It was definitely folk, but it was like the playing style was more of like, I don't know what to call it, but it's like 60s folk. That's very messy, kind of like reminds me of Grateful Dead and stuff like that.
But it was very messy in the sense, or comparatively to a lot of like the overly sheened pop music of like the 50s.
Yeah, for sure.
Where it was like crooners and, or not, maybe not crooners, but like that, like everything just had a shine to it in the 50s. And Dylan came around. It's almost like how grunge music did in the early 90s.
Yeah, for sure.
And it was just like, here it is. It's going to be messy and raw, in your face and real.
Yep, which is what grunge was.
Yeah,
it was just
exactly.
raw and
and we're not very talented on our instruments, but like.
So here's a question. And, drop Nirvana and Kurt Cobain in today. And do they have the same, here's why I asked that. There's so much music.
There is. Here's the difference though, I think, is
even Pearl Jam.
Drop
them in today.
They were the innovators of grunge.
Absolutely.
So to me, there's a difference between, like, Dylan was kind of an innovator of that, of like his like messy folk, like
his songwriting,
some poppy in it, like it is kind of innovative-y. Where a lot of what's coming out today isn't innovate. There's not something that you hear that you're like, I've never heard that before.
Right.
Where that's why I don't think
very few and far between.
Right. You can't really compare Nirvana dropping them in, because you would have to drop them in and say grunge music has never existed before.
Sure. Okay.
You know what I mean?
Sure. Okay.
Because I don't even think you can. It's just hard to compare. It's like Hendrix. When Hendrix came out, you drop him in guitar players today, and he's not even close to being the best.
No.
I mean, there's dudes on Instagram that would blow him out of the water.
Oh, absolutely.
But
because of him.
Right.
Right.
Because he was the innovator. That was the first one to be like, hey, watch me use my thumb.
Right.
And nobody done it before.
Right.
In the vein that he did it.
Well,
and so he was an innovator in that sense.
With what was crazy about him is it wasn't like he was going, hey, watch me use my thumb.
No.
That's just how he figured out how to play.
And he was just I'm playing.
I'm
just
playing.
Like Dylan.
I don't know if this is how I'm supposed to do it. But this is what I'm going to do because I can make it sound right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
No, I agree with that. I
agree with what you're saying. Like, if you were to take Nirvana and say, hey, is it great songwriting? Nah, it's probably not great songwriting.
Well, like, because what I'm more of the fact of, like, if grunge exists already and you drop Nirvana in today, I don't know what kind of splash they make.
Exactly. I agree.
But again, that goes back to Star Wars. It goes back to the Beatles.
They were the innovators.
Yeah. They were kind of the ones.
They were the innovators.
Like,
were the Beatles the first boy band?
No, because you had like
the Monkees. Yeah. I guess they came out around the same time, didn't they?
Yeah. You had like Gladys Knight and the Pips. Like, you had people like that who were
I guess that's true.
But again, that's why they were a pop sensation.
Yeah.
Because it was more pop.
Yes,
like
100%. But then they grew with their audience.
Yes, they did. Which is why that held over the way it did.
Yes.
Because like the White Album was nothing like their stuff in the late 60s.
Exactly. I wanna hold your hand.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It was very much, again, I think that you make a good point with looking at Taylor Swift. Like what Taylor Swift was doing in her pop country, like, I wear t-shirts, wear, is very much, I wanna hold your hand.
You know what's
crazy?
crazy?
And then they grow, and
they grow with their audience,
right?
Which a lot of people don't do.
Right.
They just try to,
like Mayer, Mayer's a good Mayer. Kind of did a little bit.
He was very college rocky when he first came out.
Very college rock, and then went his own way.
Yes.
He was more like I want to do what I want to do.
Yes, 100%.
If y'all like it, cool.
Yes.
If you don't, that's cool too.
Yep.
But, and so he went that direction.
Yeah.
And I get that. And when you're that good, you can.
Exactly.
And people are still going to go see him and he sells out whenever he goes, all that stuff. And so there's a difference there. But the people that don't grow, like how does Sabrina Carpenter grow with her?
Well, see, there's
you know
also,
what I mean? Like,
to me, there's a huge difference between true artists and just performers. Where
I completely agree
Nirvana, true artists.
Right.
Dylan, true artist. The Beatles, true artists.
Yeah, for sure.
Taylor Swift, true artist.
Yeah, I agree.
She's writing all her stuff.
Yeah, I agree.
And doing her own thing.
Composes her stuff.
Trying to.
Billie Eilish is
True artist.
True artist. Yes. Yeah, for sure.
And she is kind of an innovator. Her and
is
her brother?
Yeah.
Is it Phineas? Is that his name?
Yeah.
Kind of innovators.
Right.
Sabrina Carpenter, I don't
Right.
think so. I mean, I'm sure she's writing a little bit of her own
Katy
stuff.
Perry, very much entertainer.
Right, exactly.
Right.
Exactly. And those people, to me, get forgotten where the artists don't.
Right.
And that's what, to me, separates.
So, okay, then let me ask you this. Being in Nashville and growing up in Nashville, country music we've heard all of it.
Yes.
Right?
I don't know many of them that are going to be remembered.
Well, but think about this. Like George Jones.
Yes.
One of the greats.
Yeah.
Of all time.
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know, but I don't think I can name 3 George Jones songs.
I mean, you probably could. Choices.
Can you name 3?
Like, yeah.
Go.
Choices.
You're struggling to get to 2, bro.
No. I can sing the song to you. I'm trying to think of the name of it.
Gotcha.
It's the one he dies. He stopped loving her today.
Okay.
Rocking chair.
Yeah.
What's the? Yeah, I could go.
I'm with you.
I could go. But like again,
I couldn't name 2.
He's one of the greats though.
Yeah, 100%.
And you know he is. But again, like it's not like he was a great singer.
It's not
like he was. And he is a writer. He didn't write a ton of his stuff.
No, and most country artists don't. And so does that.
Well, back in that time, a lot of them did.
That's true.
Like
That's
Chris
true.
Christopherson, like a lot of those guys, they were writing their own stuff then.
Yeah.
He didn't as much. But like a lot of those guys.
Did Garth write any of his stuff?
Some, not much. Not much.
He just picked the good ones.
He was a really good
picker.
Well, and a lot of his stuff, he was like revamping old songs.
Well,
like,
yeah, I guess that's true.
Because I think it's Redheaded Stranger is the one who did
Louisiana.
Yeah, operator, won't you put me on through? I gotta send my love down to Baton Rouge.
That's such a good song,
but
dude.
He was an entertainer.
Yeah, he was a
fantastic entertainer.
He was a
big entertainer.
Okay, so all right, so let's put it together. Artists stay forever. You never really forget artists.
Sure,
innovative artists.
I agree, but
that change.
I want to go back to country for a second.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm gonna do.
Okay, go.
So country. You're not going to last 3 years past your prime if you're not like one of one in that era.
Sure.
Like George Strait.
But like George Strait, like I was going to bring up George Strait, but
Garth Brooks.
But like why Blake Shelton?
But okay, so here's the thing. He
had some hits.
He had some big hits, but the thing with Blake is he became more than
himself,
just like a music artist.
Sure.
Where he did, what's the show? Was he on American Idol or something like that?
No, he was The Voice.
He was on The Voice.
Yeah.
And so like he was more of that than he was like, I don't know anyone that has ever uttered the phrase, man, I gotta go see Blake's new tour. Like, I'm sure there are people that say that.
There are people for sure, yeah.
But like, he's not going to be remembered in 15 years for great Blake Shelton songs. You know what I mean?
Stuff like Paint Me a Birmingham.
Yeah, but like it'll be a song, dude. Here's Blake Shelton. No,
okay,
dude, I got it. Here's Blake Shelton.
Okay.
You're going to be walking around in Target.
Yeah.
In 12 years.
Yeah.
And your girls are going to be like, I need to go shopping for back to school. And you're going to be like, oh my gosh, we got to go.
Yeah.
And you're going to be in Target and you're going to hear, Paint Me a Birmingham. And you're going to be like, that's such a good song. And then you won't think about it again for the next 12 years until you're in Target again.
That's true. Well, but like Trace Atkins, around forever.
Same thing.
Around forever.
Same
but
thing.
Like, and has like Alan Jackson. What was special about Alan Jackson?
Nothing.
Nothing. But well, then why is like?
But he was at the top. He was at the top
for a long time.
For a long time.
Still is kind of.
And you'll remember him. You'll remember Garth.
Yeah.
You'll remember George Jones, George Strait.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of them though.
But are there?
Yeah.
Who?
But that's what I'm saying. Like they weren't really innovative.
No.
Like, and if you listen to 80s country, it's
but it will only be a few.
Alabama. Like,
yeah, that's not good. That's not good. But nobody remembers them.
Yeah, they do.
I mean, okay, wait, let me back up.
What are you talking about?
Hold on, let me back up. They remember them,
yeah.
But they're not pulling up their Spotify tomorrow.
Let's see. Let's see how many monthly listeners they have. We can look it up.
We can look it up.
I mean, I'm not disagreeing with you. I don't know.
But
I actually
compared
looked.
to like Hendrix and Dylan.
But see, Hendrix, we'll compare. The band Alabama. I'm not a huge.
They have a song that has 223 million plays.
Yeah.
Song of the South.
4.2 monthly. You've heard Song of the South.
I don't know if I have.
Song of the South, sweet potato pie and a shut my mouth.
I have.
Yes,
I have.
yeah.
Who's listening to that? Somebody.
I'm in a hurry to get things done.
Yeah.
Alabama.
Yeah.
4.2 million monthly
That's
listeners.
Crazy.
All right, now let's look at Hendrix.
Let's look at Hendrix.
Yeah, because I'm not going to, he has 7.6 monthly listeners.
So.
And his highest 780 million all along the Watchtower.
Yeah. Wasn't even his song.
Bob Dylan.
Bob Dylan.
But okay, like,
let's look at
George Strait.
But clearly on the pedigree of music, Hendrix is higher than Alabama.
Okay, what do you think Hendrix would be higher than George Strait?
On Spotify?
Well, just...
Oh, man, I would hope, but just based on what you say, I'm going to say no. And that also doesn't make any sense, bro.
George Strait, 8.4
That's crazy.
million monthly listeners.
I don't get it.
Now, again, like, Amarillo by Morning. Like,
Sure.
Fantastic songs. I don't think he wrote... He wasn't a writer.
No, but did he change anything?
No, but why does that matter? But
I guess it doesn't.
And that's what I mean. That's why I'm asking about country, because I don't know that there's been anything crazy innovative about country. In the late 80s, early 90s, they went a little more like honky tonk party.
Mix is a little different.
They went a little more honky tonk party in 90s country.
Is
hard
so
to beat.
good.
Hard to beat.
Yeah.
Hard to beat.
Just good songs.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And they did go a little more like honky tonk good time feeling.
Sure.
Like, and so I get it.
But then you had like Shameless.
Oh, dude.
Shameless as a man can be.
So, and now I know we're not like, it's whatever. Alan Jackson.
Oh man, it's got to be like 12.
9.2 million monthly. Now again,
what is
you're
who's listening to that?
9.2 million
55-year-olds, 60-year-olds.
Maybe. How many 55, 60-year-olds are on Spotify?
That's a good point.
I mean, I'm sure there are.
Is it just playlists? Maybe.
I mean, it could be. But again, so from what I know of Spotify, the monthly listeners is unique. So it's not.
Sure.
You listen twice and it considers it's unique. So there's 9.2.
Surely not
unique.
No.
But
I mean, maybe.
Yeah. Now, plays is not unique.
Right.
Plays is, if you listen to it 100 times, it shows 100 plays.
It's wild to think. Yeah, they're not changing anything.
There's been, I'm trying to think of what would have been innovative in country music. They tried in the 80s. In the 80s, they tried, and it failed terribly.
What did they try to do?
Because remember when, I don't know if
No, I wasn't alive.
So they talk about country music as like cyclical.
Yeah.
Where it goes pop, and then it kind of comes back to traditional.
Yes.
And it does this like...
Sure.
And right now, it's coming back to traditional.
Yes.
Because it went through the bro phase, and it's coming back. In the 80s, it went a little more pop, and so they were using like flange and a lot more electric.
Yes.
Or like the drum beats and stuff were more like 808 beats and stuff. And they tried that, and it failed miserably.
Yeah.
It was terrible.
The old drum track.
Yes. And so late 80s, early 90s, they went back to like honky-tonk kind of traditional.
Yeah.
And it was the greatest era of country music. I'm sorry. The 90s country was...
absolutely.
You can't beat it.
Yeah.
Okay, now, what do you think... I just blanked on his name. We've been talking about him.
Alan Jackson. George Strait.
No.
George Jackson.
No.
George Jackson isn't a person.
Jackson's
Alan Jackson.
No.
Garth Brooks.
Garth Brooks.
Okay.
How many monthly listeners do you think he has?
He's not on Spotify.
He's not.
He's
Okay,
not.
I was just gonna trick you,
dude.
He's like, I'm not doing it. You're not paying artists enough,
right?
So I'm not gonna be on there.
Yeah.
Now he's got some because if he did like
with
so-and-so,
somebody. Yeah.
Then he would be on there.
But dude, if he was on there,
think about the people that wrote for him though that aren't getting that money.
800 million a month.
Oh. Unbelievable.
2.4 billion a month is Garth Brooks if he goes on Spotify tomorrow.
I don't think he ever did.
If you were Spotify, how much would you give Garth? I would just give him 100%.
Well, but yeah, I mean, sure.
I'd be like, Garth.
So Garth Brooks is an artist on Spotify because of like Rockin' Chair.
Yeah,
he's on that with George Jones. Shallow with Trisha, his wife.
Yeah.
And then like things like that.
Yeah.
And so he has 720,000 monthly listeners, and he's not even on Spotify.
Shameless ain't on it, dude.
All right, dude.
What she's doing now ain't on
Well, and he tried to start his own. Remember that?
I do remember this.
He tried to start his own like streaming service, and it
no.
And because he was going to do like 100% basically.
We were at the Vanderbilt baseball game, and there was a light outage. Like one of the lights went out, and they played like 10 minutes in. They played Friends in Low Places, and the entire stadium started singing it.
Oh, could you imagine, dude?
And I'm like, this is amazing.
Yeah. So again, like, but that's why I go to country, because you can talk about people even still. Billie Eilish is like, even Lorde. I think Lorde was very like,
she was,
I don't know if I want to say innovative, but like it was different enough that it made people go, that's new.
But
like,
did she get big enough?
Wow, she's pretty big, but I don't know if she got big enough.
Right.
But what she did was very, very much different.
Dude, I don't think I can name.
Okay.
Oh, God. Here we go.
Well,
15 million.
29.9 million.
For Lorde?
For Lorde.
I don't know.
So again,
I can only name her one song, like her big hit.
Well, she has a ton though.
No, I know she does.
Royals.
Yeah, that's the one I was thinking of.
What was that? Like there's a ton. Like there's a ton that I definitely have heard.
Yeah.
But again, I think it was different enough that like at the time. That's why I said I don't know that I would say innovative, but like different enough. And I think you've seen more of that again. Billie Eilish and what she's doing. Like you've seen enough of that to call some of those people still innovative. In country,
at all? I
mean, maybe when you had somebody switch from bluegrass to more of what's now considered traditional, but even that would have been a long time ago.
Right.
Like, so.
No, country has not been innovative.
No.
I mean, you could argue like bro country was.
Yeah, you add a little more rock and pop into it. Yeah.
I mean, everybody liked it, but nobody.
Well, and that's the thing.
Everybody got sick of it so fast because it was bad.
Well, here's what I'll say too. I think you had a lot of people that like country just like it because it's feel good. Not because they're like,
I can see that.
I want a good song or I want a whatever.
Yeah.
It's more like, and I think that's a lot of the like pop,
I got it on while we're swimming in the pool.
Right.
Yeah.
Or like we're having a party, like somebody put on something fast with a big beat or whatever.
Yeah.
And that's what it's for.
Yeah. Play some Eric Church.
Right.
Play some
which Eric Church is huge too.
Who's the other dude? They're all the same. Dude.
Eric Church is not. I will say this. I'll say this. I'm interested to see how many monthly listeners. He has 10 million monthly listeners. Okay. He did, and he even talks about in his songs like leaving Music Row behind.
Right.
Because they wouldn't play his stuff.
Yeah.
And so he definitely went more like rock country, and he wanted to write songs.
Yeah.
Like he wanted to tell a story in his song, or he wanted to like, instead of doing bro, like he didn't want to do bro country and stuff. So if you listen to his stuff, it's better than
if you fast forward.
Okay.
Because if you fast forward 40 years in the future.
Yeah.
40 years. We're 80 years old.
Okay.
We're sitting down talking about music.
Still doing this.
Yes. 40 years from now.
Fair.
I'm 81.
Okay.
Are we still talking about Eric Church like we're talking about Hendrix?
Probably not.
Do we even, at that point, remember who Eric Church is?
Probably not.
I think there's your difference.
Yeah. No, I don't disagree.
If that was the 60s, right? That's 60 years.
Sure. I would say.
Is that right?
Yeah.
40 plus. Yeah, that's 65 years.
Yeah.
60 or
But again,
55 years from today. Are we talking about Florida Georgia Line?
No.
But
We're
they
not talking
have
about Florida Georgia Line now.
But they have the most #1 hits for a country duo ever.
Oh, I know.
And we're not even going to.
And come on, dude, Brooks and Dunn was way better.
Yeah.
Let's not even.
But we're not even going to talk about them.
They were good guys, though.
Yeah, for sure.
Tyler and Brian.
But
were
we're not
good
going to
guys.
talk about them.
Right, probably not.
Where Dylan was 70 years ago.
Well, Dylan, and here's the
Maybe
thing.
not 70.
Here's also the thing I think is the difference, and why I think in 40 years you might still be talking about Florida Georgia Line, and I'll explain.
Disagree.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Again, we know Hendrix wasn't the best guitar player.
Right.
We know he wasn't the best singer.
Definitely
like
not.
he wasn't a great writer.
No, not at all.
But what he did with his guitar,
Yes.
and his amp, and like what pedals and things
100%.
like that, innovative.
Yes.
Like changed the game.
Changed the world.
Yes, 100%.
The world.
Yes.
Yeah.
Dylan,
Yeah.
same concept.
Yes, 100%.
Right? Changed the world. Beatles, same concept. Now, everything past that, Nirvana, Pearl Jam, same concept.
Yeah.
All of that, right? That's why we'll still be talking about them.
Yes.
Not because they were great, but because of what they ushered
did something
in.
nobody had ever done.
They ushered something in that had
Think
not
about
been
their
seen.
iconic moments too.
Yeah, sure,
Okay,
yes,
keep going,
because
and then we're going to talk about that.
Yes.
Yes, waking everybody up with Star Spangled Banner.
Yes,
or,
totally.
When the Beatles played on Ed Sullivan.
Absolutely.
Or when Nirvana did the MTV
Unplugged. Yes.
Like, think about those iconic moments that most of these people will never. Okay, continue.
Right.
Yeah.
Innovative.
Yes.
What they ushered in. I think, I'm going to get to Florida Georgia Line in a second.
Okay.
I think everything after that had a tough pill to swallow. And you're not going to talk about those people, even if they were great.
Right.
Because they didn't innovate it. They didn't create it.
Right.
It's a lot harder.
Yes.
Now.
Well, because it's harder to innovate now because there's so much more that's been created. Yeah.
Mayer, we may be talking about him, and we may. Maybe. But because he wasn't innovative necessarily.
Agreed.
We may not.
No, I agree. I don't know if we will. I don't think we will.
Here's why.
Me and you might be.
Hot take. In 50 years, I think there's a better chance of Florida Georgia Line being remembered and talked about than John Mayer. Let me tell you why.
Okay.
I'm not saying it's for a good reason.
No, yeah.
They ushered in bro country.
They totally did.
Bro country doesn't exist without Florida Georgia Line.
Agreed.
And the amount of hits they had because of it.
Yes, but
anytime bro country is talked about, who are they going to talk about?
But is bro country going to be remembered?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
I think it will.
I don't think in 50 years.
As a stain. Not
as a stain.
No. Let me say this. Let me.
I don't disagree.
No, I know. I will say this. Some of the bro country was pretty good.
It's not good.
Feel good. Feel good.
Here's what I like about bro country.
Tune. Some of it's catchy.
Yes. If I'm sitting at Vanderbilt's baseball stadium and I'm watching warm-ups, I'm watching BP, I'd rather have bro country on than Dylan.
Absolutely. 100%.
That's when bro
100%.
country works.
Florida Georgia Cruise is one of the catchiest songs I've ever heard in my entire life. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Now, anytime bro country's talked about, they're going to talk about Florida Georgia Line.
Absolutely.
They're going to talk about it.
Absolutely.
I think when you talk about blues,
is "Shake It For Me" Country Girl going to be talked about?
I don't know, man.
Probably not. Probably not.
But so bad.
Purple Haze
it's
or
so bad, right?
"Shake It For Me" Country Girl.
But I would say this: when you talk about blues, you're going to talk about B.B. King,
right?
You're probably not going to talk about Mayer.
No, agreed.
And so you're going to talk about those guys. Where I think there's a better chance that in the time they're going to talk about the bro country era.
I see what you're saying. I don't disagree with you.
And they'll talk about Florida Georgia Line. Because they were massive.
They were.
Let's
for
see
a blip.
Well, and that
for
was
a blip.
But it was only a blip because they got into a disagreement and decided not to be a part of it anymore.
But do you think they would still be big? Do you think the music that they would still be making bro country?
Oh, for sure.
And I think it would be dying.
So
it may be better.
I'll tell you right now, they haven't put anything out in a couple of years.
Yeah.
It's been a couple of years, and they have
of course.
They have 10 million monthly listeners.
Yeah.
So, and they have songs in the billions.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, so it's kind of like, I mean, I don't. Maybe not. I don't know.
Right.
I don't know.
What do you think will be talked about 50 years from now?
Taylor Swift.
100%.
She's massive.
100%.
She's the biggest
Taylor
thing
Swift.
she's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
I think Michael Jackson will still be talked about.
Yeah. I mean, does like Beyonce still get talked about? Jay-Z?
No.
I could totally see like Jay-Z / Beyonce being talked about in 50 years.
Yeah. I think so.
Like Eminem. Like, I think there are some rap artists that will be talked about for sure.
But they were innovative.
They were innovative. That's right. That's right.
I think like Dre and Jay-Z and Eminem, you have to talk about them. Without them, hip-hop, the industry
it's
itself
a different, yeah, I think that's the big thing is like...
Because we're talking about like Star Wars, and how people are obsessed with it, but it's because it was innovative.
Think about how big of a deal when the episodes 1, 2, and 3 came out.
Mm-hmm.
How big of a deal, like
so I will
pop
say,
culture
I will
deal
say
that
this.
was.
I will say this. When, I don't remember if it was 1 or 3.
Yeah.
I did go to the theater with the girl I was dating.
Yeah.
Because her brother was a huge Star Wars guy.
Yeah.
And so they were all going. So I went.
Okay.
It's whichever one that he like tries to jump over and
episode 3.
So it was 3. It was the last one.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So that was the only one I saw.
Where he turns into Darth Vader.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it was the only one I saw in theaters.
Yeah.
I saw it. I left being like, I have no idea what's going on.
Yeah.
And everybody just thought it was great. They were all dressed up and stuff. It was crazy. And I mean, again, I get it because it's innovative. I just like.
Well, think about innovation.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it Dungeons and Dragons was the first.
Yeah.
And it's been around since the
70s.
Yeah, I mean, I think the original came out like the late 60s.
Was it late 60s?
Well, yeah, it was there's the 50th.
Oh yeah,
that's right.
50th anniversary. Yeah.
So 50 years.
Yeah. So okay.
So
how
75?
much? I don't know this.
Yeah.
You may. How much did D&D play a factor in video games? Because if you think about it,
I think
I mean, if you think about video games, like it really is just a virtual version of
like RPGs.
RPGs, yeah.
I think it all stems back to Lord of the Rings.
Sure.
Like without Lord of the Rings, Dungeons and Dragons probably doesn't exist in the same realm of what it is today.
Right.
Like they originally tried to use the term Hobbit. They were like, you can't use the term Hobbit, so they changed it to Halfling.
Yeah.
Like D&D they wanted to be Lord of the Rings.
Oh, for sure.
Now, when it comes to RPGs, I mean, it had to have had a ton of influence.
Yeah,
on
I would think
just
so.
The classes in general.
I would think so.
I mean,
well, but I think even if you look at like, take Call of Duty. If you're playing the campaign version,
right,
which goes back to, I'm sure D&D always had campaigns, or I don't know if that was the terminology or not, but like
when it first started, like when D&D was first going, it wasn't as well. I'm sure some people
called it a campaign, but it was more of a book.
It wasn't. It wasn't really story based.
Oh, okay.
And so you would have.
It was skirmish. It was more of just like skirmish.
No,
or was
you would have one character, but like you would go to a town and there would be a dungeon. And you'd need to clear the dungeon or something. Like there wasn't a ton of story that kind of tied all into one big story arc.
So the campaign came in later on, like that. That was more 100%. Of like a.
And the way it worked was, it was more of a. I don't want to say treasure hunting game, but it was like the whole idea of the game was to go kill things in the dungeon to get gold pieces, but could gold pieces equal to experience points?
Gotcha.
So every gold piece you got was one experience point.
Adventure-based.
And that's how you leveled.
Right.
But it wasn't even adventure-based in the sense of like how it is now. It was like you go into a dungeon with 40 rooms. And in every room is something totally different.
Gotcha.
Where now when you create a dungeon, if it's like this dungeon is inhabited by orcs, and it doesn't make sense for there to be bears in a room.
Sure.
Unless the orcs are doing something with the bears.
Sure.
Like, that doesn't make any sense.
Right.
And everybody at the table would be like, wait, why are there gnolls in this room? Right. And I went down 5 other rooms and there's orcs. And then I went down like 6 rooms in a big cave, there's a dragon.
Right.
But back then, that's what it was. It was just these totally just random. It just felt so random. And it was so much more deadly.
Well, here's what I see. Like if I look at something like Call of Duty, and you're not playing live online, right? You have a health meter, just like we have hit points. The further you go, the more experience you get,
right?
You get experience points. It's not the same, but level up versus and level up with that. You have actions that you can do. You can try to hide. You can try to whatever. Very much like D&D.
Right.
You can attack. When you attack, that thing loses some of its health. Doesn't, not all the way.
I mean, I would think then.
Same with you. They can also attack you. If they hit you, you lose some of your health. Like some of that comes down. So like it's very much like then you have to go talk to this person. And they give you directions about what to do and where to go.
A quest or whatever.
Or like, oh yeah, we've been fighting off this whatever. You need to go tell so and so, whatever.
Right.
It's role play. It's just built in. Same thing. And so it's very much
it's
like
not
when
nerdy because it's guns, bro. Yeah.
But so when you kind of compare the two, it would almost be hard for me to think like it didn't spawn from that.
I mean, I would think it would have to a little bit because like
think about who was creating that stuff back in the day. Like the nerds were probably playing D&D and trying to figure out a way to do this like on a console.
Right. Like the original on NES, the original Final Fantasy game was very Dungeons and Dragons. It was not like the more futuristic Final Fantasies that came way after it. It was, you had 4 characters. You could pick between a fighter, a thief, a red mage, a white mage, a black mage, they called it a black belt, which was kind of like a ninja-y character. I think there was one other one. That may have been it.
Very roguey.
But the thief was like the rogue. And you partied up and you went around and you got spells and you got weapons and armor and all that stuff and you just leveled up. And I've still, to this day, will play it every once in a while, like on my computer. And it's just like, it's D&D. Like you would fight ogres and imps and dragons and all these different things. And you'd fight liches, like all the different things. And you would go into dungeons.
See, that's what, and that's why I say,
D&D.
I don't know. I don't.
But it can't not have.
Right. You would think it had to have some
It had to have been a huge influence. Because
it's basically what it is. And so like, if I ever have people that are like, oh, I've never, like, I don't even know, I've heard of it, I don't even know. And I'm like, it's basically a video game you do on paper. Like it's kind of the same thing. And they're like, oh, okay. And I was like, so instead of like I hit A and it does that thing, I roll a dice to see if that thing actually happens or not.
Like, the thing, I remember being at Overton and 2 of the offensive linemen were with Brown. And he was telling them that we played. And one of them has now signed with the Carolina Panthers. Steven.
It's crazy.
And they were like, oh, it's kind of nerdy, like whatever. Like they're like, what is even, what is it? And I was like, all right, let's pretend like you can cast spells and you're a fighter. And they were like, okay. And I'm like, you're in a tavern. And they were like, okay. And I'm like, you're just sitting there enjoying a drink, maybe eating a bowl of soup or something, just hanging out. And I was like, both of y'all roll a perception check to determine, what y'all are noticing, what y'all are seeing. And I was like, you roll a 7 because you're just loving your soup. And you rolled a 15. You start to smell smoke. What are you doing? And he was like, I don't know. And I was like, what are you doing? You're smelling smoke. And he goes, well, like, I'm gonna like look and see where I smell it. And I'm like, all right, are you getting up? Are you gonna go look out the window? Are you going out the front door? He's like, I'm gonna go out the front door. I was like, are you sure you wanna go out the front door if you smell smoke? Is there something bad going on? And he was like, I don't know what I'm doing, man. He was like, hold on. And I was like, what are you doing? I was like, now you're starting to see flames. I was like, what are you doing? And I was like, and you rolled a higher perception check and you hear something outside. It doesn't sound human. And they were like, what do we do? Well, they were both freaking out. And I was like, that's D&D. And they were like, we want to play now.
Oh, for sure.
I was like, because now you get to do whatever you want. You can go out the window if you want to go out the window. You can bust through the door. You can try to bust through go up the chimney. Like, what do you want to do? How do you want to get out? Do you want to sneak out? Do you just want to bust out? Do you want to hold up in your shield? What do you want to do? Yeah. So
love it.
Yeah.
Cool.
Way better. So if anyone's still listening,
probably not.
Probably not. The odds are very much against it.
They've all unfollowed us.
They have blocked us. They're not even unsubscribed. They're blocking us on everything. They can follow us on all the socials.
Yeah.
And on our Patreon. And on our YouTube, which is also kind of a social.
Yeah.
And they can listen to our podcast wherever they find podcasts because it's not always like this. It's us playing Dungeons and Dragons.
Absolutely.
We have all the dice.
Yeah.
We were gonna play Dungeons and Dragons.
We totally were.
And then we just got lost in the sauce.
Started talking.
We got lost in the sauce.
Yeah, that's what you do.
And so thank them for coming out.
Yeah, thanks,
we want
guys.
to thank them.
Yeah.
And hopefully they join us again in the
Check it
future.
out.
For 20 sides way off the rails.
And our hot takes don't speak for the rest of the crew.
Maybe they do.
Maybe they do.
But probably not.
Probably not. I don't know. We'll have to see.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll do this with everybody at one point.
That's true.
And then they can all laugh at us and tell us we're stupid.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Until next time.
Until next time.